earlier this week, a big 3-team trade happened.
Pain.
Celtics, Grizzlies, Warriors. The Celtics received Kristaps Porzingis, the 25th overall pick, and a 2024 first-round pick, top 4 protected via the Warriors. Grizzlies received Marcus Smart, and the Wizards received Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscala, the 35th overall pick via the Celtics. I'm sorry I had to end like this, Dehls. The Marcus Smart era in Boston is now over. If it makes you feel better, though, and this is kind of the logic that I had in my head. We know how important Marcus Smart is to the Celtics. He's a heart and soul. And I think Brad Stevens in this trade treated him as such. He wasn't traded for nothing.
No.
He was traded for a legit all-star player.
Facts.
And 2 first-round picks. If that doesn't show you how much Brad Stevens values Marcus Smart, I don't know what will. Because that is a huge return to get for Marcus Smart.
The return's great. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. You have really like 2 different trains of thoughts from people. And it's funny because the people that like the Marcus Smart trade, which is basically like 100%. If you're not a Celtics fan, you love this trade. You think you fleeced. Oh my God, you got it. But those are typically the same people who have the same questions about the Celtics, about the leadership, about does Tatum have that dog in him? You know, can you win with Jaylen Brown being the 2? And really just, I feel like more than anything with the Celtics, it's been not even the talent of the team. The talent's always been there. It's been more about the continuity and can you win with this group of people, with this type of leadership from these players. And Marcus Smart was the leader of this team. He was on this team for 9 years, the longest tenured Celtic on the roster. And what hurts the most is that I thought going into this offseason, our number 1 need was to get more playmaking and better passing offensively. And Marcus Smart, not saying a ton, was a top 2 playmaker / passer on this team. Him and Tatum, I thought, were the best. And you go and you trade your lead playmaker at guard. I love Derek White. Malcolm Brogdon's solid. But what Marcus Smart was able to do, that's why the Brogdon deal made so much sense because he was more redundant, I thought, with him and Derek White. At least offensively, because Marcus Smart, I thought, was a facilitator of this offense. And maybe there's some addition by subtraction there. Maybe the ball should be in Jason Tatum's hands more down the stretch and Jaylen Brown's hands more down the stretch. But I just don't like the people that think Marcus Smart is like just dynamite to an offense in terms of like, you throw him in this offense and shit just blows up because he takes terrible shots and he doesn't know how to run. It's just not true. He had a great playoff run. He won us low-key multiple games through these playoffs.
You're not lying.
He has hit big shots. He honestly, in the 4th quarter, his 3-point percentage in this playoff run was the highest on the team. He is not someone that
he was saving legacies.
He is not someone that is just like putting a wrench into offense. This is not what he does. And Celtics fans, if you love Marcus Smart, which is me, I didn't like the trade. I understand Porzingis comes in and he brings you something different to this team. But I don't think you could rely on Porzingis, Brogdon, and Robert Williams to be 3 of, right now there's only 7 guys in this rotation you're going to trust in the playoffs. Those 3 you're going to be relying on a ton, and they all have extensive injury history. Marcus Smart's someone who's going to come in. He damn near never gets injured. He's the heart and soul of this team. He's the leader of this team. Jason Tatum loves him. Jaylen Brown loves him. And Brad Stevens, it was just as hard for him. He's been with Marcus Smart this entire way, so I know it wasn't easy. But I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst, honestly. I know maybe talent-wise you get better, and there's probably another move to make. I don't think you go into the season next year and with just Brogdon and Derek White as your guards, and of course you have Brogdon and Sam Hauser, but I don't think those could be your only 2 guards. I think there's another move down the line, and whatever that move is, then I think we kind of come back and see, how it shakes out.
And this was Dell's live reaction to the trade. He posted a picture of himself on Twitter.
Bro's in the corner.
Bro, because me and my girl, we were getting ready for bed, and I get the news, boom, Porzingis gets traded. I was like, let's go. I'm talking my shit. And then I was like literally just about to go into the room, and I get the alert, Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies. And I said, oh, no. She said, what? I just fell to the floor. It was sick.
Listen, and I've tried to tell you this since the move happened. You said it. If you're not a Celtics fan, you like the move. I wouldn't say it was a fleecing. I just think that I like the deal. You traded your best defensive player, not this past season, 2 seasons ago. This season, he was not the defender, nowhere near the defender that he was the DPOY year. And, of course, DPOY, it's very hard to keep that level of play. but he wasn't the best defender that you guys had on the perimeter. You could say that Derek White was your best perimeter defender this year. Absolutely. You mentioned about the playmaking, but you said it very, very blatantly as well. It's not saying much that he's your second best playmaker. Tatum is number one, but it's not like Malcolm Brogdon can't play make. It's not like Derek White can't play make. It's Jaylen Brown. He needs help in the playmaking department, no doubt. I do believe that in this free agency, you will find another guy that can play make. However, you get 2 first-round picks. Depending on what happens with Golden State, I still think that they'll probably be a playoff team, play-in team. I doubt that they really decide to blow everything up unless Draymond doesn't come back. Then we start to have questions. But I'm going to go in with the expectation that they'll have Draymond. It should be a decent first-round pick. You get this pick that you didn't really – I'm not sure what you guys turned this into. Pick 25.
It was Brandon Walsh, 4 second-round picks.
Jordan Walsh.
Jordan Walsh, okay.
I don't know what
So you get Kristaps Porzingis. Now you have some real rim protection. You don't have to rely as heavily on Al Horford anymore. See, now he's kind of getting that CP3 treatment where now you'll have Kristaps Porzingis start at the 5. You'll have Al Horford come in to give you some solid minutes. Of course, you know that he can knock down the 3. That kind of killed you guys in the playoffs where he was not nearly as efficient as he was in the regular season, but that's what you're going to rely on with Kristaps Porzingis. His offensive game, his rim protection, Rob Will and his versatility, you can rely on that. But I think that I understand. Let me not say I think. I understand where you're coming from in terms of you just lost your glue guy. You just lost the leader in the locker room. Now it's Jason Tatum's time to assert himself as the captain, as the leader of this team. That's something, if I'm a Celtics fan, I'm looking forward to because I know, if I'm a Celtics fan, I know and I trust in Jason Tatum and his development and his ability to be a galvanizing force in that locker room. So it hurts as a Celtics fan because of what Marcus Smart means to your team, but you understand that you guys still are one of the deepest teams in the league. You address the need of yours, bring in some youth in terms of the in the front court, bringing in Kristaps Porzingis, who is also on an expiring. You get him at a relatively cheap price. But then also you add an extra piece to your offense. There's not as much pressure on the Jaylen Brown, on the Jason Tatum. There's another guy that you can rely on. So it hurts to lose Marcus, but there's upside to this move.
Can you rely on KP? Can you?
65 games this year. Yes, this was the first 65 or something around that. Yeah. Yes, he's struggled with injuries in the past, but this was the healthiest that he's been this past season.
This was also the most he's got the ball.
You don't necessarily need to extend him. You probably will, but you did get the 2 first-round picks for included in the trade. And this he had to opt into his deal. Correct.
This is my thing. And I think in theory this should be a good move, but you got KP, Rob Will. They're both injury concerns. Your front court is KP, Rob Will, Al Horford. Al Horford's pretty old. You guys are gonna kill him, man. You guys are sick.
Hey, you know we did against the beat. Don't disrespect.
And then your backcourt, that's the issue. It's naked, like really. It's Derek White.
Good.
It's Malcolm Brogdon.
Good.
Brogdon has
unhealthy.
It's not even. He didn't play well in the playoffs.
He was hurt.
Defensively, he was really he was the guy getting targeted in every single series they played. Yeah, okay. That's the problem if he hurt because he's always hurt. But I think Porzingis brings some upside to the team. He brings the stretch 4 ability. He can protect the rim. So if Rob can't play, you can play Porzingis, a guy who can protect the rim and can hit shots. So that doesn't leave your offense in a tough spot when Rob is in the game because he's a rim runner. He's not really a shooter. But I think
put up dumb. I know numbers.
He was OD.
I bet you, but if Poole did that, you would be like the team stinks.
What are you talking about?
The numbers in Washington.
If he did this, like we just had this conversation. If he goes to Washington and need dogs, I give him his praise.
Shut up.
Oh, bro, if he does this, I'll shake your hand and say I'm sorry.
He's done that before.
No,
on a playoff team. Anyways,
you're losing me, Riv.
I think
17 points. Relax. I 17 points.
24 when he started. I think Porzingis brings some good things though. I just think you guys need another guard. I think you need another playmaker. You don't have too many. Marcus Smart, he was hurt last year, so it did drop him off defensively, but he was really fucking good as a playmaker last season.
In the playoffs, he went back to really good defensively.
And I think the playoffs he was a great playmaker too. I think you guys are a little stuck here. You can bank on Jason Tatum always improvement, but what about Jaylen Brown? Now this puts more pressure on him to become a better playmaker because you're missing that other guard. And then Derek White, we know what he is. He has to also be another playmaker. But I think all in all, this puts you guys in a good position. I don't know if it makes you guys better. I'll have to see how the fit looks on the court. But in theory, you got 2 first-round picks, or you got 2 picks in general. You got Porzingis from Marcus Smart. The heart and soul of your team. I understand trading the heart and soul is tough, especially one who was in your starting lineup for so long. He kind of kept the boys together. I had that bond, that continuity. But you guys were fucking up anyways late in games and was doing dumb shit down the road anyways with him. And he was a part of the dumb shit at times. He was shooting you out of games at times. So will Porzingis do that? I don't know. But I think for the haul you got from Marcus Smart, I think it's pretty good.
It was a good talent upgrade. You guys upgraded in talent a lot. You did. And Kristaps Porzingis is coming off his best season.
By far.
65 games played. He was an elite drop defender, rim protector, elite scorer from the post, off the catch, attacking closeouts.
Insanely
he was
good.
elite.
I know.
But here's the rebuttal to all that. When he was in Washington, he didn't have expectations. He didn't have any true stars he was playing off of or had to play off of.
He did what a good player would do.
Bradley Beal was injured last year, and Kyle Kuzma was their second best player most of the season. So he really had free reign to do whatever he wanted. Last time we've seen Kristaps Porzingis in a situation where he played with another star, it was one of the top playmakers in the league in Luka Doncic.
Who's hard to play with.
In the playoffs, Kristaps Porzingis was not good in his last playoffs.
Brunswick fine.
Okay.
My concern with it is with this move is Joe Mazzulla's a second-year head coach. You lost your locker room leader in Marcus Smart. Kristaps Porzingis now comes in. That's another ego and personality you have to manage. Kristaps Porzingis was in Dallas thinking he deserved more touches than Luka. In Boston.
He was carrying in the Clipper series.
Get out of here. With Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the biggest question mark is who's the playmaker on this team. You're now relying on Tatum and Jaylen Brown to take massive playmaking leaps, and it does feel like an overlapping of skill sets and players that don't complement one another. Porzingis was no doubt a big talent upgrade, but I think, if this was the original trade, if you're trading Malcolm Brogdon, Celtics fans feel much more better because you traded an injury-prone player that you didn't rely on in the playoffs who wasn't good for a major talent upgrade, and you didn't have to trade a player who was such an important part of your success. Marcus Smart has been a part of every Celtics era success in the last 8 years. The IT era, the year where they had Jared Sullinger and Olenek. He's been through those eras. He's seen those things. And it does suck that they have to trade him, but this is a major question mark, and you brought up an excellent point. I don't think this Celtics team is that deep. I really don't. They have seven players that you trust in a playoff rotation. 3 of those, like Dehls mentioned, are insanely injury prone. KP just had his most healthy season, but are we really counting on that? I think injury is still a question with him.
It is.
So you have 3 players that are injury prone, and who knows if they're going to be able to withstand a regular season and be healthy come playoff time. And then the other elephant in the room, KP is on a 1-year deal. If this team does not work out, the chemistry does not work out, it's a disaster. KP is walking for nothing. And let's say best case scenario, it does work out, or Kristaps Porzingis at least plays at a great level. Boston is now going to be paying Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis a boatload of money. And those are the 3 main players almost all of your cap is going to, and that's going to limit the depth even more. So I think this was a move that, Brad Stevens made thinking that the Celtics can win it all next year.
This was a power move.
It was.
I think that they did this because they believe that Kristaps Porzingis was the missing piece to getting over that hump and winning the NBA championship. I feel like if there was, we got to give praise. Kristaps Porzingis was very good last season. You could say yes, maybe the expectations weren't there. There's no pressure being put on him. Now that there's going to be a ton of pressure being put on him, especially in Boston, especially when the expectation is championship or bust, we're definitely going to see the true Kristaps Porzingis, but I do believe in his skill set. I believe that he should fit in this system. Again, with how great he is. Say that one more time.
It wasn't.
No, gotcha. The Wizards weren't a good team. That has nothing to do with Kristaps Porzingis and how great that he played. Obviously, you could play great basketball and you still lose. Look at Damian Lillard. That's another guy who played great basketball, but his team was still losing. You can only impact. It's a team game.
Damian has showed that he can put up 28.
No, I'm just talking last season.
But that's not what Porzingis is going to be in Boston.
Absolutely not.
He's going to be
kind
of like a 16-8 guy in Boston.
Yeah. Absolutely, who's going to do all the missing pieces that you hadn't had last season.
I'll be honest. If we're going straight off vibes, just aura of the team, it feels like a disaster.
I'm sorry, man.
It feels like a fucking disaster waiting to happen.
Welcome to the party.
It feels like Porzingis gets injured. It feels like he's not going to be there for the playoffs, and you're going to be going in with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and no Marcus Smart, and it's a second-round exit. That's what my gut is telling me right now.
Second-round exit.
That's what my
Did
gut
you
is
pay
telling
Jaylen Brown
me.
yet?
We
You
haven't.
guys give him his bag?
We haven't.
Give him his bag, man. Hurry up.
I'm trying.
Hey,
Talking
you know,
to Brad every day.
This is,
Say that,
I
man.
think, the Kristaps Porzingis move, at least in my opinion, was similar to what the Suns did in trading for Bradley Beal, making a power move there.
Yeah.
There's a difference between those two moves, though. I think the Suns were backed into a wall and needed to make a move like that to even give themselves a chance next year.
Because of how good the Nuggets are.
Not even that, but because Chris Paul is 38.
I apologize. You're
And
100%
that's
right.
really it. And they don't have no picks for the future, so they needed to make one of those moves right now. Boston didn't have to make this move.
They didn't.
They could have stayed pat.
And it's important that Brad was loading up on picks.
I feel
I
differently.
don't agree. I feel like they had to make a move. Maybe not this move, but they had to make
Boston?
a move. Yeah.
No, Boston had to make a move, I think, but
they had to retool for
I thought it
sure.
was you
the
move
the
Brogdon
yeah,
and you
yeah,
get a piece. Now,
You could have added picks to Brogdon.
The injury, whatever it might be, is worse. I mean, there's actually a report out there that the original deal was still Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies for Porzingis or whatever, or it might have even been to the Wizards, and then the Clippers got involved, and then it changed to Brogdon. But I do think it's important that Brad is loading up on these picks. We could lap out second-round picks, but this new CBA is coming up. Second-round picks are going to be more valuable because you're going to have guys on nothing contracts, and you'll be able to get rookies and kind of replenish your roster. And obviously, we just saw Bradley Beal go for 6 seconds. And plus the extra first for the Warriors, the Celtics still have all of their first-round picks. So if they want to make another splash move, they have the assets to be able to do it. The big thing, though, is just going to be able to match salary because outside of Brogdon, who – I mean, if the Clippers don't want you, who knows who's going to want you out there in the NBA? They don't have many salaries to match. You're not trading Brown or Tatum. Al Horford probably doesn't have much trade value. You probably don't want to trade him, honestly. Same with Rob. Like, these guys are part of your core, and then your bench is right now Grant Williams possibly in a sign and trade is someone that maybe could, match some salary there. But everyone else is gone. Like, there's this roster right now. There's not a ton of guys. Payne Pritchard makes no money. Sam Hauser makes no money. So Brad has the assets pick-wise. It's just going to be tricky to try to make the money work. Yeah,
very different situations if the teams fail. If the Suns fail, they're cooked until 2031.
Agreed.
2031 hilarious.
Unless they trade Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, like who knows what they'll get for those players. But still, they're going to be very bad.
Shit just doesn't even look right, bro.
The Celtics can still retool if it doesn't work.
I needed a better pick for my guy.
twin.
Am I looking at him? Are you looking at a mirror right now, bro?
Oh, my God. Marcus Smart in a Grizzlies jersey. I want to throw up.
I'm excited.
Let's talk about the Grizzlies aspect of this trade. They got Marcus Smart. I thought this was a move to replace what Dylan Brooks brought to the team from a leadership
and
heart and soul
25 games.
perspective.
And the way you said leadership, yeah, Dylan Brooks' leadership, garbage compared to what Marcus Smart's going to bring.
No doubt. I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
Leadership lost me because they don't follow nothing he does.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's cap.
No, it's
He was a heart and soul of the team, bro.
What heart and soul? They let him go to
Brooks,
fly.
they said we don't want you.
Heart and soul, they sent their heart and soul for baggage. They let Dylan Brooks walk, said, we're not bringing him back.
Under any circumstance.
Terrible heart and soul.
I feel like the basketball
and what he
guys
can do
aren't gonna
for
help us, man.
just the locker room as a whole. That's
You better
really
watch out how you talk about a future Houston Rocket.
No, he can bring a different type of leadership to that. Like he can
100%,
change, he can
bro.
alter
He
that
is,
culture.
for sure.
Like,
But you mentioned it. 25 games without Ja. Marcus Smart feels that. That's going to be very important. But they're going to have to fill that Tyus Jones need as well. Because it's not just Dylan Brooks that's leaving. It's Tyus Jones, who was one of the best backup point guards in the league.
Smart starts?
I think Smart should
When
start.
Ja's out, for sure.
No, I'm talking about when Ja comes back.
Oh.
I don't think Smart should start.
Who starts at the 3?
You're too small if you start Smart.
I don't think you would put Smart at the 3 though.
No,
I think you put him at the 2.
Then you put
but
Bane at
but
the 3.
It's
He's
that's
6'5".
That's so small.
6'5" is
Ja,
too small.
Smart.
Is that your
Bane
breakout?
Small.
They need a 3. They need to go into free agency and grab a little cheap 3.
I mean, bro, they were trying their absolute hardest to go get Mikal.
Yeah.
But Desmond Bain,
Penagos trades
6'5", 216. He is smaller for a small forward.
Got no wingspan either. Yeah.
Wingspan.
But
Stinks.
you don't have a
T-Rex.
forward that you trust. It's Zaire Williams, David Roddy, Santi Aldama. Those are the options you have at wing right
Gotta
now.
go get some money.
Yeah.
I do think Smart brings an insane new vibe to that young, immature locker room right now. They need something different. They need a guy that's been through it, that's been to multiple ECFs, that's been to the finals, that's taught young guys, that's been in the locker room with these young vets. And he's gonna
They
bring.
need somebody. I think this is what they really need. And I think you're about to say it, but I want to just say the word.
I figured.
Come on, bro, let him cook.
They need somebody to bring the team down to earth.
What's gonna say that?
That's what they need.